Hello, everybody. I'm Scott Zambelli.
And I'm Jill Webler, and we are Team Titans out of Realty Executives in Shelby Township, Michigan.
And can you believe it? We're already at the end of 2019 and ready for a new year.
Where did the time go?
It flew by.
It went by so fast.
Yeah, it's been an amazing year. Been a great year for Team Titans. But it's also been an interesting year real estate-wise. We've been witnessing record low inventories.
Yeah, we still have had a lot of buyers that we are working with that are anxious to find a home but are struggling a little bit just because of the low inventories.
Right, so as we look forward to the new year, a lot of people are making New Year's resolutions, and some of those things may include your personal real estate goals. Like, do you want to buy a house, refinance and stay in your house, renovate? Whatever it might be, we're here to help you.
That's right. So this is the time of year for me personally where I'm looking at personal goals, whether it's health, financial, as you mentioned, real estate. So we want to help you with that. So one of the things we decided to do was let's look at the trends of kind of what's been going on with real estate and then talk a little bit about what maybe this next upcoming year might look like.
So right now, we're looking on sites like Forbes and other websites and different real estate magazines. Basically, it's looking like 2020 is going to be very similar in a lot of ways to 2019. There's going to be some differences. We have an election year coming up that can throw some wrenches into the mix at the second half of the year. But overall, it's going to be kind of similar.
Right. So this past year, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, we saw inventories looking kind of low. They're kind of predicting the same thing for this upcoming year.
Yep.
So what does that mean for different markets? We have, buyers who are just coming into the market. They're looking for the smaller homes, smaller price range. Then we have customers who maybe have been around a little bit longer and are looking to go into the more expensive homes. So what does this year look like for those different markets?
All right. So just as 2019 was a year of low interest rates, high demand, and limited supply, low inventory, we're going to be seeing much of the same moving forward. But so what does that mean for you? Well, we'll hit it point by point. Okay. First of all, mortgage rates. They're projected to stay low or maybe even go lower, according to projections by Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. And but what that means is because we're at such historic lows, a lot of people are refinancing instead of moving. And that's impacting the availability of housing.
Right. So people are staying in their homes longer because the costs associated with refinancing, you need to be in your home at least probably 2 to 3 years for it to make sense to do that. So that means fewer homes are going for sale on the market.
Yeah. And then so when there are fewer homes, and another demographic that's also affecting the amount of inventory is the baby boomers. Historically speaking, people tend to buy and sell and move every 8 years on average. That average, because through refinancing, has moved from 8 years up to 13 years. And they're even finding in some markets 23% of people are 23 years is the average. Right. People are staying in the home.
Which I think is great, as far as people are wanting to live healthier lives, live longer, productive lives. So that allows them to stay a little bit longer in their home, which that part is great. But for as far as inventory turnover, that means we're not seeing those homes hit the market. So it's having a trickle effect.
Right. So with less homes on the market, but growing demand, you get higher prices. And we're especially seeing that on the lower end of the price spectrum.
That's right. So you probably have also noticed with this lower price range for first-time homebuyers, there is not really any new construction going on. You're probably looking at, we were seeing maybe $300,000 on up for newer construction. It's very rare to find new construction for homes in the 100, 200, thousand price range.
And numbers wise, we are seeing record construction, but like you said, it's in the upper end. So because of that low inventory, new construction is relieving the pressure. It's giving people an outlet for things to buy. But on the flip side, because there's so much new construction in that price point, people with existing houses are having, because you're now competing against that gives you trouble. But on those low ends, if you're looking at houses under 300, especially if you're looking at houses under 200,000, there's nothing out there that's being newly built.
Right. So what happens when there's not enough supply to meet demand? It causes the price to go up. So first-time home buyers are looking at paying a little bit more for these smaller homes.
And the increase in pricing in that price point is expected to rise much greater than income levels.
Right.
So it's definitely something. So this goes back to planning. What are your goals for 2020? If you're somebody who's looking for a starter home or something, a lower price point home that's maybe 200,000 or less, give us a call, because you may want to make your move earlier in the year instead of waiting for everything to continue to go up. Because right now they're projecting by next September of 2020, an increase of 5.6% in pricing. So 5%, that's if you're looking at a $200,000 house, that's $10,000 more. So talk to us. We'll help you with that planning process. We can help you go over your numbers. We can hook you up with mortgage reps if you don't have any. We have a number of them that we work with and do amazing work. So these are the kind of things we can help you to get your 2020 going.
Correct. Just some other interesting things that we've been hearing about with millennials. We are finding that they are trying to stay away from debt. They're wanting to live a lifestyle where they can kind of move around freely, using a lot of recyclable goods, that type of thing. But another thing that we are hearing about is a trend called hipsterbia, if I'm saying that correctly. And that's where people are wanting to live in neighborhoods where they're living, they're working, their family is more centered around the subdivision instead of like doing far drives out to the city from the suburbs. They're looking a little bit more for everything to be kind of close together. So I thought that was an interesting trend to kind
I
of
think
watch.
there's a secondary cause of that, actually, because also in that age group, a lot of them don't drive. A lot of them don't want to own cars. They don't have driver's license.
Right.
So I have a feeling wanting to be close to everything is so they can ride their bike or walk.
Yeah.
Which, personally, living in Michigan, no thank you. I want a car. If I was going to live that kind of lifestyle, I'm moving to San Diego.
Yeah. But I think that's an interesting trend.
What's it called? Hipsterbia?
Yes. I'm going to spell it for you.
Sounds like a disturbed hipster.
Hipsturbia. Hipsterbia.
Hipsterbia.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think that's kind of an interesting trend. I like the idea of working close to my home and all the stores being close to it and my friends and family, I tighten it.
Well, and I do think there's a part of that too, is we've grown up, even like ourselves, and being a realtor and getting away from the lifestyle of where I was driving the typical 8 a.m. rush hour traffic for an hour and a half one way, and then the 5 p.m. rush hour traffic an hour and a half back. It was miserable.
Yes, I agree.
And living a lifestyle now where we are self-employed as realtors, where we are able to schedule around those things. When I do get stuck in a long rush hour traffic drive, I'm like, how do people do this?
Right.
So yeah, I'm all for living close to everything.
But I think it all ties back in with the millennial thinking. They are valuing time now more necessarily than stockpiling money.
Yeah.
So just an interesting trend.
Interesting side point too, mentioning millennials. We tend to call anyone who is younger than us a millennial, but just for point of note, a millennial is currently the age group of 23 to 38 years old, born between 1981 and 1996. Depending where you look, those years could be slightly different. But so it's not just anybody who's younger than us. It's there is a specific age group there. Like my daughter, for instance, I think a lot of people will lump her into the millennial group, but she's really, I don't think they technically have a name yet. I think they're calling them Gen Z right now, but until I guess they have to do enough to have a common trait that they get a nickname assigned to them. But currently Gen Z, I think. But so all the millennial blame. She's like, I'm not a millennial though. That's not
Don't
me.
label me.
It's not my fault. Whereas we're in the Gen X group. Gen X is 1961 to 1981 is that age range. So that would be us. But they are making a larger and larger portion. Millennials make up a larger and larger portion of the buyer pool out there, as they're they're getting to that age where they want to own their own home. They're making the money to buy a home. So they're really in the large group, whereas the baby boomers they're in a group that's just not moving. They're in a state where they are staying where they live as long as possible, and they don't want to move on. Like even like my own mother, for instance. She's thinking about she's getting close to retirement. She's announced her retirement at her work and everything, but instead of moving, she's reinvesting in her current home and fixing things up because she's decided instead of selling and moving on, she's going to stay there and live a long time there. So, when you get a number of people doing that same thing, they projected if baby boomers had the same activity as previous generations, that would be 1.6 million more homes for sale.
That's a big difference in inventory.
Right. So there's that many more people staying in their homes instead of moving to a new location. So just something to think about there. Long story short, the story is record low inventories. The cost to build is too high because of the price of land and everything else to build these lower level income houses. Not low level income, but lower price point houses, entry level homes. It costs too much to build that and make a profit when it's $100,000 house. The money's not there, so they're not getting built anymore.
Right.
But it gives you, if you're willing to do the work, there are a lot of houses out there. We've been talking about this. This is another aspect. A lot of people don't want to put the work in.
Yeah, it's very interesting. We are seeing this trend more and more. People are wanting to sell their home as is without having done any updates, but not necessarily having a price that reflects that.
And on the flip side, you have buyers, and this is, of course, is not, we're generalizing, but this is from a vast pool of people we've worked with and interact with. And buyers, on the flip side, they want a house that's 100% perfectly done, but they don't want to pay for it to be 100%.
Yeah.
They want everything done at a low price point. Sellers want to do nothing for a high price point. So you're getting this disparity there. If you're willing to put the elbow grease in and make it your own, and you can, there are good deals out there.
Yes.
There really are.
Yeah.
Not every house has to be perfect when you move in.
And I think the reason for this is just my theory, but I think from the TV shows, everybody thinks you can find a home already fixed up or that you can fix it up in a day's time, and that's all that's needed. So I think that's part of the issue we're having. Yeah,
so what you talked about that hipsterbia trend and stuff. So part of that is it's going to help lead people. They're saying suburbs are where they're going to be targeting for that. Because they want to be close to where they work and family and everything else, like you said. So that that just gives you a very, in a nutshell, projection of 2020. And then like we mentioned, it is an election year, which throws its own wrenches into it. But typically, an election year, it really only affects that final portion of the year during the election. The numbers show it typically does just as normal during the rest of the year.
Right.
There's no reason to put everything on hold. Whatever your plans are, don't worry. Go ahead and do them. The election is not going to, whoever wins in the future, it's not, ultimately it has no impact.
Right. So that brings us back to you setting your goals for the upcoming year. So if you are saying, hey, I think I might be interested in maybe buying a new home this year and putting mine up for sale. And maybe you're at the point of like, I don't know, should I put money into the house before I even think about selling it? This is the perfect time while you're sitting down and making your plans for the year. Sit down with us and we can have that conversation and let you know what makes sense for your particular situation and your goals.
Yeah, just as if you were planning out whether it's your retirement plans, insurances, whatever, you would talk to an expert to help guide you in your planning. That's what we're here for. Whether you choose to sell or not, it doesn't matter. We're just there to be part of the process, advise you the best we can. If we'll show you the numbers, and you can decide whether it's more beneficial for you to sell the house as is. Do you fix it up and sell it? Or do you fix it up and stay in it? Those are the choices you have to make, but at least we arm you with the data so you can see if it's worthwhile or not.
Yes. And so we are anxious to meet with our friends and family. If you have people that you know in your life that maybe are at this point and are making these decisions, we would love a referral so we can meet with them as well. I can be reached at 586-277-2145.
Or I can be reached at 586-549-6096. And as always, find us on Facebook at Team Titans RE or go to our website, teamtitansofrealestate.com. We look forward to working with you and want to wish everyone a blessed 2020. Have a great day.
Bye.